Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Monday edition of Today in Sports Betting. We're going to take a look and recap all of the exciting action that we had over the weekend, see how we did, check in with everybody. And who better to do that with than my partner in crime, my right-hand man, the one, the only Scott Reichel. Happy Monday, Scott. Good morning. It's another week.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's a week with actual mainstream sports, believe it or not. I believe that's starting on Thursday. We got some MLB action. We got the Nationals and the Yankees on Thursday, and we also have a thrilling matchup between the Dodgers and the Giants. That's right, we got Gabe Kapler on national television. Isn't that something?
Johnny Cueto.
Yeah.
I love you. It was weird watching. They had a exhibition game last night between the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox. And it was weird. You turn it on, you go, what year is this from? And then all of a sudden, it's from this year. Mm-hmm. It's live baseball.
I was watching the Yankees exhibition game against the Mets last night. So I was also kind of getting back into the swing of baseball. I'm sure a lot of people, especially degenerates, have not forgotten about baseball because they've been betting in Korea for the last couple of months. But both of us, I know you dabbled a little bit. I can truly say I never touched the Korean baseball organization. Nothing against them, just was never interested. Right. But it's nice to see some familiar faces and familiar names and nothing like artificial crowd noise to just get my blood pumping, right?
I like the way they did it in soccer. I thought that was actually, from a fan's perspective where you watch it, I thought it was kind of interesting. I'm kind of curious to see how they really get it up and running there as far as baseball goes. And
they had it at Yankee Stadium last night.
No, see, I didn't watch any of the Yankees game. I did watch a little bit of the Chicago.
No, I'm saying they had some artificial crowd noise in the Yankee game. So it was pretty weird. It was a default cheering sound. And we're talking about pop-ups to the infield and like shallow fly balls to the outfield, and yet the crowd's fake cheering. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, that's just a lazy fly ball, right? Like that's an out. But I guess they got to figure something out. I don't really care about the crowd noise. I kind of like the natural sound of just baseball being played. I'm a huge fan of when players get mic'd up. I know you can't fully do that all the time because you're afraid if somebody's going to say something that's not appropriate for television. But you do that in the NFL all the time. NFL's had the mic'd up situations for a while.
Right.
Think about baseball players. They did it during spring training. And even in the All-Star games. I would have loved, for example, to hear Mike Trout mic'd up in the third inning or something. Get creative with the sound. You don't have to plug in fake noise for –
I kind of like how they do it in the All-Star game where they're actually talking to them as they're in the field.
I know you can't really do that because All-Star games are exhibition. This one isn't. Right. But in reality, I do like the idea of having mics around just random players, talking. I think that's interesting stuff, and I feel like that's a new dynamic. And I know people are so used to crowd noise they don't want to change the formula. But I kind of like the simplistic idea of just hearing a baseball, connecting with a ball. With a bat. I just think there's a nice sound to it. There's an aesthetic to it.
If you've ever gone to spring training and seen these guys play, it's kind of a similar situation. Although, obviously you do have crowds of a few thousand people. But if you sit down close during a spring training game, you hear a lot of the sounds of the game. Guys talking.
Like good or bad, in your opinion?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anything that makes you feel like more of an insider, like you're getting in on the action, so to speak. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
I agree with you. I think that's something that the MLB should consider. Sometimes I think less is more. And I feel like if you want a unique situation where you have a 60-game season, people are going to be going nuts and you want fans back, maybe you should try to have the fans connect with the players more by actually, hearing some of the dialogue in the middle of innings. But that's just my fault.
Go ahead and slap TVMA on it and keep the kiddies at home,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't care. Let's hear all the warts and all.
Put a little delay potentially in dialogue and bleep some stuff out here and there. I think it makes perfect sense to me.
And in no way, shape, or form will they do that. So
correct, but that's what I think that would be a decent idea.
So let's take a look at this weekend, shall we, Scott? We did okay. I don't know. How'd you end for everything for the four sports
I barely went down in three of the four. I lost track. What was the fourth one?
The horse racing.
Oh, horse racing, I was up. But for the most part, Curtis and I agreed on basically everything, and everything basically won, with the exception of Dr. Post coming in third instead of New York Traffic.
Killed me. I keyed those two on top with I went 1-2-2-1 all with the trifecta, and
No, I decided to straight authentic because I couldn't go against Baffert. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Aquaphobia won. That worked out.
That
And
made my that made my day for me there. Aquaphobia paid $23.40 to win.
yeah.
And
And I forgot the other one.
uh,
Global something.
that was race 10 where Jose Vargas ran global campaign.
Yeah.
To he was the favorite. Math Wizard, which was my horse that I liked. He actually got up there for second. So that one paid okay.
Overall, horse racing was pretty good because I feel like everything Curtis recommended worked out. So
Curtis had a good day, and then Authentic was absolutely, that race was really chalky.
Yeah,
he was the odds-on favorite, and that's exactly how he ran.
I laid it with Authentic because I just couldn't go against Baffert. It was just a matter of I thought the horse was going to win, and
the horse you hated finished second. So
something like that.
New York traffic. So
I didn't say I hated it. I just said as a New Yorker, I wasn't going to take it. But for the other sports, I went down barely in the other three. I lost like 0.4 units in NASCAR. I lost 0.5 in UFC, and I lost what I lose. I lost like 1 unit in golf. I think it was pretty just very minuscule losses. Golf. Had Tiger missed the cut, I would have been up 2 and change units, but stuff like that happens. So
right,
that's what it is.
I think the golf show was the one that I missed with my when I was battling the tooth.
Yeah, so I was with Dave on that one,
and I had the one bet I had the top guns. I had Thomas, Justin Thomas, Roy, Patrick Cantlay, Bryson, Tiger, Dustin Johnson, and John Rahm. At plus 133 against the
saves
field.
Rahm for last on that list.
Yeah. Johnny Rahm ended up saving me there at plus 133. So that one worked okay. Of course, I had DeChambeau in a matchup against Morikawa. Tin Cup melted down there for me. So
I had Koepka against Tiger. I really, that was such a terrible beat. Everything involving Tiger was a terrible beat for me this weekend, and I can go into that or save it for the golf show.
Who won that one? I know Koepka has been playing awful. Did he?
So Tiger beat Koepka. I had 3 props with Tiger. I had Tiger to miss the cut at plus 300. Okay. I had Tiger not to hit it into the water, and I had Koepka over Tiger. So Tiger's plus 3. He birdies 2 of his last 3 to go from plus 5 to plus 3. I'm like, okay, the cut's at plus 2. Let's see what happens. Cut moves to plus 3. So Tiger makes it by about 2 spots. Koepka double bogeys 18 to go from plus 1 to plus 3. So he was one of the guys who kept it at 64. It would have been 65. And then DeChambeau shot a 10 on I forgot what hole that was, 15?
15 or 16, yeah.
Something like that. So he also moved the cut. So both of them don't choke, and Berger also double bogeyed 18 to move to plus 4. If all 3 of those guys hold on, Tiger misses the cut. Tiger, 3rd hole, day 3, hits it in the water. Wouldn't have happened if he missed the cut. I lost those 2 props. Koepka and Tiger both made the cut at plus 3, when Koepka probably should have made the cut and Tiger shouldn't have. And Koepka, I believe, shot, I don't know, plus 45 over the weekend. He said his knee was bothering him again, so he's probably going to miss some time again. But
yeah, so I saw that.
It was bad.
It's been bothering him since last October.
Yeah, that golf tournament was just an absolute crapshoot. Every score was in the pluses besides Rahm. I don't know what happened with Rahm, but Rahm was 14 under halfway through day 4.
Yeah.
And top 20 was plus 1. And I'm not sure what golf course they were playing on, but it clearly wasn't the same one. But I survived a massive sweat, which would have been even worse. I had Gary Woodland top 30 at plus 120. He was 5 under after day 1. I needed him to avoid going plus 10 over the weekend in order to finish top 30. He shot plus 9. He parred 18 for me to win. Oh. So I won a plus 120 there. If he had choked that, that would have just been – I would have taken a week off from golf. But he held on barely. And, not the greatest. At NASCAR, we both took it light. We both didn't really like the race. 2 of my drivers got absolutely destroyed. Kyle Busch decided to sideswipe Truex, and, that didn't really matter. I had Austin Dillon over Newman, though, so it wasn't a complete loss as – you tend to win matchups if your driver wins the race. So That worked out well for Dillon. But for the most part, 0.4 units down, and UFC was kind of the same way. Went 2 and 3 minus 0.5. Really, just not that big of a weekend or that big of a loss over the weekend.
No, I picked up a few points on you in the Winners and Winers Cup. I picked up 40 points on you in the Winners and Winers
points.
Cup.
Yeah, I had 2 drivers who finished in like 30 something. But yeah,
It's been a weird year for me in NASCAR because I probably have had just as many victories where I've had the lowest point score as you guys have. But when I go bad, man, I go really bad.
This was the worst NASCAR performance I've had in the entire Winners and Winers Cup. I'm pretty sure before this race, 2 of my 3 drivers made the top 10 every single race. I'm pretty sure that's what's happened, and you could probably research that, but I'm pretty sure 2 of my 3 drivers have always made the top 10. This is the first year I had 2 guys finish in the 20s.
Yeah, you've been a model of consistency, and I think that's what's made the difference. And that was kind of a brutal beat if you watch that race. The 00 car of Quint Hoff, who's one of those guys that, honestly, he's filler. There's really no reason for him to be on the track. He decided that he needed to get to the pits from the middle lane, and really didn't care if anybody else was there, and just started a chain reaction crash that was just took out. Now that wasn't the big crash. Now
well, that screwed over your Blaney though.
Yeah, that was because they were off on the pit cycle. Blaney and Harvick, was it Blaney and Harvick?
I think it was Hamlin.
Blaney and Hamlin had already pitted, so they could go to the end. They were about 11th and 12th. Everybody in front of them had to pit before the end of the race, and of course they got exactly what they were looking for. They got the yellow flag, courtesy of Quint Hoff, and that gave them the ability to go ahead and pit, not lose position, and that doomed the Blaney and any Hamlin action.
Hamlin set a record for me. I don't think I've ever seen a NASCAR driver crash twice in 10 laps. I don't know what he was doing.
I don't know what that was about. I honestly,
I know you won points and all. I think Hamlin has 4 wins this year. You can probably just keep him, in the garage.
He doesn't care about points because once you win, you're automatically qualified.
But I'm saying in general, it's not like he's going to win the race. You don't need just keep him in the garage. You don't need to bring him out. You have 10 laps left. Just relax.
If you're going to wreck somebody, if you're going to go out there and wreck somebody, make a point.
First one, he spun out. It happens. I thought Elliott didn't clip him. He just spun out. And then the second time he comes out, he spins out again. I'm like, Hamlin came back out. I thought they just left him in the pits.
Yeah, I was surprised. That's the first time I saw him was when you saw him spinning into the wall. Yeah, it was. I have nothing. I had a great pick. I had Blaney at plus 900, and he was locked in. He had the best car all day long. He won stage 1. He won stage 2, and he was in a position to win the race before the 00 screwed everybody over. So you know what? That's racing. It happens. But yeah, brutal beat as I'm looking at a nice 9-1 payoff there, and that turns into absolutely nothing. As far as my props go, I had I
went 1-1 with my props. I had Harvick stage 1. I had Dillon over Newman.
I went 1-2 as a Logano outpaced Kozlowski. I also had Ford to win at plus 110, and this was the first time that Chevy has snuck in there in quite a while. I'd have to go back and see, but that's the first Chevy victory we've had in many, many races. And I had Kurt Busch in the fatal 4-way over Amarola, Johnson, and Jones. And Eric Jones actually cost me that one as he got up for a 5th place, 6th place finish, a couple of spots ahead of Kurt. So
yeah, and UFC was kind of the same way. I chopped for the most part. I picked the right fighters. I just didn't get the methods. It's a terrible feeling when you take one fighter to win by submission or decision at plus 100, and he wins by first round knockout. That's not exactly how you drew it up, if you know what I mean. But
right,
it happens.
What paid off well for you, and what was a bad beat as far as UFC goes, Scott?
There wasn't really any bad beats, but I picked a couple of fighters. I took Lipsky, for example, to win by decision, and she won by first round submission. So I pretty much picked the right fighters every time. I just didn't get the method, which was, it's the risk you pay. But when you turn a favorite into a plus price, all you need is to win like 1 and 2 when you make profit.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Something tells me that having anytime you take a women's fight to end in the first round, somebody made some money there.
Correct. First round. There were so many submissions on that card. You had 5 submissions, and throughout the entire, throughout the actual fight card, you had 5.
Was there just? Am I wrong? Was there one knockout?
You had
Yeah.
the guy I took had the knockout, and I had him by submission or decision. But
You had Dolids.
yeah, I had him. He had the massive leg kick that misconnected and hit him with the knee instead, I guess, but it killed him
Nice.
either way,
Yeah.
so didn't really
First,
matter. Fun
first,
fact, though, for this upcoming UFC card, we have 15 fights.
is that right?
15.
Uh,
Usually we have like 12.
yeah, five. A couple weeks ago they had 13, and that was
Yeah, we have 15. Of course, I'm sure one or two are going to drop out because of weight cuts or it seems like it happens every week. So I'd assume somewhere around 13 to 14 tentatively. I don't think all 15 are going to stay on the card. Fun fact, though, the one guy who I actually had the second round submission with in the midweek card earlier in the week, he's fighting again. 10 days later, they're just bringing him back.
Nice.
So, I expect him to win by destruction. But we'll get into that.
I'm assuming that's a Saturday night card.
Yeah, they put him in the main event. They put him in the main card. And it's a second career UFC fight. And he outstruck the guy in the first fight. I think it was 140 to 2. And he won by second round submission. And they're just throwing him back in. So here you go. Probably going to be a future title contender. And I expect him to win by mauling. So we'll see what happens. But looking forward to the rest of the week. A lot of sports in store.
Yeah, and like I said, we and here's for those of you that listen, Scott and I are going to go back and start our regular video format. In addition to this one, Scott will be doing
picks. We have individual picks again.
Yeah, Scott will be doing Scott's selections, and I will be doing the deep three. I'll be starting for Friday's games for the full slate of Major League Baseball action. Scott, will you be doing a selection on Thursday or Friday?
Well, since the Yankees are playing, I feel obligated to talk about the Thursday game. So I'll probably be back for Thursday. I have to look at the betting market and see if I actually like any props available, but I'll let you know. But regardless, we're still going to be having the show together every day. So stay tuned for that.
It's going to be fun. It should be a blast. Yeah, and it's I don't know. We ain't exactly going to be back to normal, but what do we call? What's the word now, Scott? We're going to be back to new normal.
Yeah, that works.
So yeah, anything to get closer to the way things actually were, and yeah, we'll see what happens with the COVID and with everybody. We'll see how that goes. I don't know, Scott. Do you predict each of these leagues are going to finish?
Each is a bit excessive. Now, for the sake of each, are we including the NFL and college, or we're only talking about NBA, NHL, and MLB?
I'm talking about the three that are doing their truncated season.
So NBA I think is going to happen.
Okay.
I think they're too far into the season. I think that if you're going to be starting the playoffs roughly 2 weeks after you start the restart, I think you're going to be fine. I think they're going to get to the playoffs and they'll just manage. NHL, I think is going to happen. I know they had some issues in Toronto, so they had to potentially move some stuff around, but I actually think. Plus, Canada's done a much better job handling the outbreak than the U.S. has, if I'm just being blunt.
Yeah, there's really not even an opinion anymore.
Yeah, so I think that the NHL will finish. MLB, I have the hardest time believing in because you have to start from scratch. You have to start the regular season and continue all the way through to basically October, which is asking a lot. If I was the most skeptical on one, it would be MLB. But, I actually feel decently about it. So if I had to give percentages, I think NHL is a very high percentage. I give NHL the highest percentage.
Look,
I think NBA is a little bit right below it. And I got MLB, I'd say a decent amount below the other two. That's where I stand in terms of comparison.
Think anybody's less than 50-50?
I actually think baseball is probably around 45-55.
Okay.
But the other two, I would go 65 plus.
Let me ask you this: how are they going to have American hockey teams play in Canada?
I'm assuming that they just moved. I'm assuming you're just moving to the hub.
So they're going to have these guys in isolation, I guess, for 2 weeks prior to the season starting?
That was my assumption. My guess is that since they have hub cities, you can just practice there. Just picture it like the bubble with the NBA. You just have a bunch of people, regardless of where you normally practice or what state you're from. Congratulations, you've officially moved to Florida for 3 months.
Right.
And I feel like that's what's going to happen here in Canada. As long as they rotate the actual practice rinks, everyone's going to practice and they're going to play in the same area. You don't have to travel. So they should be forming an NHL bubble, so to speak.
Yeah, and of course their bubble will consist of the entire city.
Correct.
Because that's kind of how we roll. So,
But yeah, for the American traveling to Canada, I feel like that's pretty standard. They're just gonna go a couple weeks in advance and stay there until the end of the season.
probably right, and that's I think that's the only way you can do it. You can't. I don't think they can let these teams travel back and forth to America. I mean, that's
Well, I know
you know,
Canada shut off the border with the U.S., so I'm not exactly sure how that's.
everybody shut off the border with the U.S.
No, but the point is, in terms of the Americans traveling to Canada, they might have already traveled to Canada.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. So, yeah, I was kind of curious. I actually hadn't read about that. So, it'll be fun. And then those are both starting up somewhere around the 1st of August. We talked about that before the show. We did not go and get a definite date.
No, it's July 31st and August 1st. Those are two of the dates that are. I'm not sure which one, but it's either one of the two.
Okay, and that sounds very right. Yeah, I think. I thought hockey was a little later, but you're sure about that they've taken that to August 1st or July 31st?
Well, the hockey playoffs, I believe, are starting later, but you had the extra round now. You have to add the whatever it's called. I don't even know what it's called. The qualifying round.
Right.
That's what it's called. So you got to get those out of the way.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll be fun, and we'll have actual picks on those, and yeah, sports, everybody.
Yeah, I made a WNBA video again last night. So.
I know, and I was gonna retweet you, and definitely check out Scott's stuff. And he had a very sneaky play that he turned me on to, and I have a max play on it. So don't be impressed. The max was pretty low, but
you can't win them all. If you see borderline, I said in the video yesterday, I thought it was borderline free money. If you want to just talk about where the numbers should be, I mean that the value you're getting there is a must bet 10 times out of 10. And I feel like even if the max bet is low, anything in the triple digits is still anything in the triple digits. So I'm not going to complain about potentially getting free money.
I wonder where that line was, because when we had a bet before for $50, and you're like, yeah, I don't care about $50.
Well, my future videos for the WNBA finals are not even on the board anymore. They took it off. So I had the Storm at plus 1,200 to win the championship on Fox Bet, which is still one of the dumbest lines I've ever heard of. And they took it off. Max bet was $83 to win $1,000. It was $1,000 even. So I took that. And now the Storm on BetOnline are plus 350. So I got a plus 350 team to win the championship at plus 1,200.
That's pretty fair. That's a pretty fair price.
There's value. It doesn't even matter how mainstream the sport is. If you find value, don't be afraid to pull the trigger on it. And I know some of you might be wondering, this league is, why I'm not going to watch this. Who cares? It doesn't matter. If you're in the sports betting business, it means you're in the money-making business. And if you're not, you probably picked the wrong business. Is that a fair statement?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
if you find value, don't be afraid to grab some. And that's the advice I give you. And WNBA has provided me with some options. So I've capitalized.
That Mystics play is still up there, Scott. That's what I was looking at. And it has not been adjusted.
Doesn't make any sense.
For the record, you want to give your pick? Is it your?
I can give it out now. It's fine. I give a more thorough breakdown on it in my video if you want to check that out. But I have the Mystics under 15 wins at minus 115 on BetOnline. It's just they have the highest win total, and they basically lost all of their key players. They might win 9 games. I don't know how they have 15. They should clearly adjust it. I think you'll agree with me. Even if you don't follow WNBA, based on the information available about their top players being out, that's like the Warriors without Klay Thompson and Steph Curry having a win total of 60.
That's good. That's a good comp. And yeah, their top 2 players basically decided to forego the season, right, for COVID.
Yeah. Well, one of them was trying to get a medical exemption, didn't get it, but she opted out, and the Mystics decided to pay her anyway, so she's not going to come. And the other one has an asthma issue, so she literally cannot play. So they are basically screwed. So under 15, that means that a team without their best 2 players has to go 16-6 for you to lose.
And because they are playing 22 games, right?
Yeah, that's the only contingency with the prop is that you have to go 22. So if it doesn't, then you get your money back. It's kind of a waste of time. But in reality, 16-6 without your 2 best players, including the defending MVP, that's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, Anyway, that was what I did the weekend. I played poker and I found WNBA props.
Good, very good, very good. And we did a lot of moving around. My daughter has moved into the apartment with my other daughter, and
Nice.
she no longer. She'd stayed with us for about a month after she sliced her hand. I think we talked about that. And,
We did.
so we got her settled and everything like that. So went to fun. A big night last night. Scott actually went out to dinner for just the third time since March the 12th.
Thai food.
Did a little street side dining, did a little al fresco.
I was guessing Thai food.
No, I'm big Thai. We did Mexican. Actually, they do they do an all day happy hour on Sundays where they have a cheap ceviche and
all day happy hour. That sounds like my type. That sounds like my type of place.
Well, they do it with liquor. They do it with the sangria and margaritas, and then they do it with their food, which is where my interest lies at this point in my life. They have ceviche and cocktail de camarón for a low price of $6.55 each. So yeah,
that's not a bad deal.
Nope, good times. So we had a blast, and that was pretty much my weekend. So yeah, we had so what would we call this, a moderately successful weekend for us?
Well, I made money off the show. I posted my Justin Thomas to birdie that one hole at plus 900 on Twitter, which was nice. So it worked out. It's a massive rabbit hole to get yourself into if you decide to bet on golf holes.
Mm-hmm.
But all it takes is one. You get a par 3, one guy, it's a good tee shot, plus 900. It's a pretty good day to save the weekend.
Yeah, not bad at all. And, honestly, my weekend was made profitable by, I'm going to say Aquafina, but the
Aquaphobia.
Aquaphobia, yeah, the kind of the opposite. It paying off in the 11th race. I loaded up pretty well on him, and that paid off, and that kind of paid for my incompetence. Well, it paid for, I would have had a great weekend with Aquaphobia and Chase Elliott hitting, but as it is, we just kind of just about broke.
You mean Blaney?
Chase Elliott, yeah. I'm sorry, Ryan Blaney. Yeah, I always get those guys. The two sons, I get them confused.
Well, they're young guys, they're sons. They also are very wild and tend to crash into other cars. So yeah, that's true as well.
Yeah. So.
Oh.
All right, bud.
I don't. Yeah. Oh, sorry. You're gonna make one point. I had a question to ask, but you can go.
Oh, I'm wrapping up. So go ahead and make your point.
Oh, I was gonna say, what are we doing tomorrow?
I don't know, Scott. That's a good question because I was going to talk to you off air because our European soccer expert has been called away once again to work the bar job. He has a job there in Mallorca, Spain, and they have been the bar that he hangs out at. The tourists are swarming it, so he now has to take a little part-time gig. I mean, he didn't have to; he wants to take a little part-time gig tending bar at night, which, of course, that's when we record. So he will be unavailable tomorrow to do soccer. So I don't really know what we're going to do tomorrow, Scott. But then
we can figure it out. So that's
the
fine.
Rest of the schedule. We talked about our Wednesday doing golf, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we got golf on Wednesday. It's a pretty light field.
Yeah. I know a lot of the heavy hitters are going to be taking this one off after playing the Memorial. We'll be doing the UFC on Thursday.
Yes, we're doing UFC Thursday, Friday. We can honestly do baseball if we really wanted to.
Yeah, we talked about doing some baseball picks for the actual night games, and then Saturday, of course, we'll be doing our NASCAR show. So that'll be fun. All we have to do is figure out what we want to do tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll figure that out as soon as we finish this.
Of course we will. Of course we will. So, Scott, anything else you want to talk about over the weekend? We want to put that one in the rearview mirror, lock it up, and never speak of it again.
Yes, I thought about how hot it was outside in New York and how it's in the mid-90s, and then I realized it's the end of July. So I kind of forgot what month it was and the fact that the summer is already halfway over. That was not my brightest moment, but in my defense, I've been trapped at home for 4 months. The calendar kind of ceases to apply.
Yeah, my buddy that I went and had lunch with, and we kind of reconnected. We had lunch. He just found the receipt the other day. I was talking to him. He found it on his desk. March 12th. That was the last time I was in public, inside a building until I went to the dentist on last week. I had not been inside of a building other than my home since March the 12th.
It's a decent streak you got there.
Yeah. Now I have now. That is, I will qualify that by saying I ate on a patio twice. I had to walk through the restaurant to get to the patio, a total of probably 20 seconds of walking through the restaurant to get outside. So,
Okay.
but yeah, that was the first time I'd been. And as a sidelight, Scott, kind of cavalier with their mask policy over at the old dentist office. I was a little surprised.
Hopefully the dentists were wearing masks.
Out front, everybody was wearing masks. Everything was fine. But back behind the scenes, very few people had their masks on. They didn't care for it. So,
okay.
Anyway, and that's apropos of nothing. So, yeah, well, but yeah, I'd like to say, I'd like to say I'm optimistic.
I feel a lot better about the sports coming back than I did about 3 weeks ago, which is, I feel like, kind of unanimous amongst people.
Yeah, it's weird because the situation as far as the numbers go, never been worse.
Correct.
So it's just kind of America's just done a weird job with this. I'm just going to say.
I think it's mostly based on the individual states, though. So the issue that you have is that you have states like Kentucky that are having massive, I don't want to say second wave, just, a massive spike in numbers and stuff like that. But when you're looking at sports starting in Canada, you're looking at sports starting in other places, I know the Kentucky Derby is important, but at the end of the day, I feel like it really depends on the individual states and how well these athletes are bubbling themselves, so to speak. And if you have some faith in it, then you feel pretty decent at this point in time.
Well, yeah. I mean, like and then out in California at Del Mar, where they had, 15 jockeys test positive for Corona. So I don't know, buddy. It's going to be a fun, it's going to be an interesting couple of months here. And then we're going to see, everybody is just kind of treading water. You get the feeling, Scott, that everybody's just kind of waiting, just kind of treading water, waiting on football to see what happens, to see if football goes forward.
Well, everyone, in terms of a sports betting perspective, of course, loves football.
Yeah, I'm talking about, the important part.
I think most people are treading water for the vaccine, but that's a little bit of a separate story. But some progress was made at Oxford, I believe, today with the vaccine. So hopefully stuff continues to progress, and hopefully this thing officially dies down at, I don't know, a couple months from now. We'll see.
That'd be nice.
Yep.
Any chance we see college football?
I'd assume no. I can't say any chance. I've seen Stranger Things.
Sure.
But in reality...
By the way, Stranger Things Season 4 has been put on hold indefinitely because of the corona.
That's the massive disaster that nobody's talking about. No, but if I had to go with college football from a made-up scale perspective, I got 5% it happens.
I give it a little better than that. I think it's about 20. I think it's about a 4-1 underdog.
I think maybe one conference will do it, but in reality, I don't know if there's going to be any students on campus. It's so bad in terms of college students having to go back to campus and everything. It's chaos.
Yeah, well, let's dive right into whether schools ought to be restarting.
I'm not going to go into that. I'm just saying.
There's a non-controversial topic that'll take us.
It's pretty tough to have an actual college football season when you have nobody there and people who are on the football team can't physically go to classes on campus. That's a little bit hypocritical. So you got to worry about all that stuff. But we'll see. Hopefully stuff progresses in the next couple of weeks.
All right, fair enough. All right, guys. Well, thanks very much as always, Scott. Thanks for doing the show. I don't want to think thanks for joining us because you're here with me. So yeah, thanks for doing your thing. We're pretty excited around the old winners and whiners parts as we're kind of starting our normal schedules, quote unquote, back up here at the end of the week. So that'll be fun as well. Look forward to doing the Deep Three again, and looking forward to you coming up with some signature thing like that for your show as well. So.
Well, I've had the show for about a year, and my signature thing is just wishing people good luck on their bets. That's basically how I wrap up the show.
Very good. That's solid. That's very solid. All right, guys. Well, thanks very much for joining us. We do our little recap show here on Mondays, and we always do it. We always enjoy just kind of going back and touching base, and we try to be a little different than other shows. Other shows, they throw those picks out there. You never know how they do. You might play one of their picks and you go, hey, well, that was a terrible pick. And so we always like to go back and revisit and see how we actually did, give you guys the information on how our weekend went as far as the show and the picks go. So we appreciate you watching, and we appreciate you guys, as always, tuning in to Today in Sports Betting. And don't forget to check out winnersandwhiners.com and our sister site over there at statsalt.com as well for all the great information on all the upcoming sports. odds, things like that. And, man, we got a bunch of them coming up. Like I said, we got baseball starting up. And then right around the end of July, 1st of August, got the NHL and the NBA. And they will be cranking out the daily content once again over there at Winners and Winers. So make sure you stop by and check that out. Scott and I will be doing our thing together every day, and we'll be doing our thing separately every day as well. So stop by and make sure you check out Today in Sports Betting, as well as Scott's Selections and the Deep Three with yours truly. All right? So, till tomorrow, I'm Scott Steen. He's Scott Reichel for all of us over here at Winners and Winers. Appreciate you stopping by. Have a great day. Be safe, be healthy, and make sure you check us out again tomorrow. And we'll see you then. All right?